showered and took a minute to sit, and then I pulled up some of the pictures that I did and started putting it all in order, the pictures and the video, and was getting ready to edit when I decided to come on in the kitchen and get started on my dinner for Sunday, because I have church service tomorrow and I don't want to have to rush and come home and cook and all of that. So I decided to get started on some of it tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this smoked turkey on so I can make these collard greens. And yeah, I love collard greens with smoked turkey. And I got the corn on the cob, which I think I'll do tomorrow. But I'm gonna go ahead and do the smoked turkey and the greens today, and season up the pork chops and have those ready for tomorrow when I put them in the oven, and it'll be done. Let me see. Oh, I think those are the two main things I'm gonna go ahead and do. I already cut up the watermelon. I always buy a whole watermelon and cut it up and put it in the refrigerator and let it be good and juicy cold. And yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, the shower was great. I had a wonderful time. And I saw so many people that I know and hadn't seen for a while. So it was really good to see them. And can you see me? Somewhere. Oh guys, you guys. Okay, I need some more light in here. That's my problem. And you know what? I wish you guys could help me figure out what to do with this wall that is completely blank right now. And I really want to do something with it, but I don't know what. And being the artistic person that I am, I'm trying to wait for the right idea and the right time to do what needs to be done. So I need some ideas. I thought about doing, ouch, a photo mural. Yeah, just a photo gallery with pictures all over it of family and everyone, but I don't know. I don't know, you guys. But if you have any ideas what to do with this blank wall in my kitchen, it has been blank for the last 7 months, let me know. Let me know. That would be cool. Super cool. So I hope you guys had a good Saturday. Mine has been pretty darn good. I'm not complaining about anything. And I am sleepy and tired, but I think I'm doing the right thing by jumping ahead of the game and you know, getting some stuff done. So yeah, you guys, I know that my son's probably gonna, one of my sons at least, is gonna pop over tomorrow to eat. And I said I want to have something available. And me, you know, because if I'm not tired and extremely sleepy today, tomorrow I'll be wiped out from the whole weekend. So I'll come back from church. And if I don't cook today, then tomorrow I'll be like, oh, I don't feel like cooking, and then I won't cook tomorrow. Nah, you know, and I really do want to cook. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So I'm gonna have pork chops, corn on the cob, collard greens, smoked turkey, and what else am I gonna have? I'm gonna have well, I guess that's it. You know, maybe I'll make some rice, you know. But I always make a lot of greens, you know, because I get the bags of greens, and like these are collards, and then I have a bag of kale. So I always get a lot, and it's a lot for one person. So yeah, I'll do that so that I have enough to eat off of for the whole week, you know, because I love them so much, and they're so good for me. So to keep me regular, which I need, and they're also, I consider them a great snack. You know, I can snack on them. So yeah, those things. That stuff like that. Well, remember that song? I can't think of who wrote it. It goes, you know, what makes you feel like doing stuff like that? What makes you feel? This is from back in the 80s, early 80s. So it was real cool. And it hit me when I said stuff like that. Oh, guys. You know, I didn't exercise today, and I'm definitely going to tomorrow. I'm either going to go to the park or lift weights here, but I didn't exercise yesterday. I didn't exercise today. Even though I've been quite active, I did not get in purposeful exercise. And my goal is to get off of this oxygen, because I am so over this. I am not going to be tied to a tube for the rest of my life. And what amazes me, you guys, is that I had never heard of pulmonary sarcoidosis. I never heard of sarcoidosis. Had no clue what sarcoidosis was until about 8 years ago, when, you know, I was told, was it 8 years or more? Wait a minute, 10 years ago. This is 2017, and I was diagnosed in 2006, but didn't have a real serious onset of symptoms until 2008. That's when I really started getting sick and ended up in the hospital. But yeah, I used to go to the gym all the time and work out and everything, just trying to stay fit. And I would get on the treadmill, I would do my water aerobics and go in the sauna, and those were my favorite things to do. And I would do circuit weight training too, but it wasn't my favorite. So one day I'm at the fitness center, at the gym, and I was on the treadmill, and all of a sudden it felt like clearly it felt like a pop in my lungs. And all of a sudden it's like my breathing, or my ability to breathe, seemed to be cut off a little bit. Not cut off, but it was shortened. I was having trouble, a little bit of trouble. And I was like, what is that? What was that? I couldn't figure out what it was. And so I thought, oh, well, this will go back to normal, something, maybe I'm just tired, what, so I finished my routine on the treadmill, but after that, I continued to get shortness of breath, continued to have shortness of breath, and I went to my primary care doctor, and I said, told him what was going on. So he sent me to, you know, another department there in his office to have x-rays done. And I did. And I knew when I went to have those x-rays, you guys, I knew something was wrong because when they did the x-rays, it got really quiet. You know, the x-ray techs, it was two of them, the two ladies, they got very quiet. And I was like, wow, I mean, are they looking at my x-rays or what's going on? You know, no one really said anything. And I've taken x-rays enough in the past, you know, where they will tell me, you know, very good or, you know, whatever. But nothing, just nothing being said. So I knew, I said, uh-oh, something's wrong. I knew it in my gut that something was wrong. So when I got back around to the doctor's office, he said, well, we got your x-rays back, because he got them immediately. He said, it looks like it's sarcoidosis. And I was like, what is sarcoidosis? I had no clue. You know, and he said, and this is what he told me. He said, I want you to promise me that you will stick with me. I guess him as my doctor. Well, I had already been going to him almost 10 years, so what was he talking about? You know, but he said he was sending me to have a bronchoscopy done, go see a specialist. So he was sending me to a pulmonologist so that I can have a bronchoscopy scheduled, because that wasn't his area of expertise. You know, he was a primary care physician, no family physician, you know. So he didn't do that thing kind of stuff with the lungs. It wasn't his specialty. So anyway, I was like, of course, you know, doctor, I'm with you, you know, but what in the world is this? So he was trying to explain to me what sarcoid was, and it just wasn't registering with me, because then there again, I'm like, this isn't anything major. What is this man talking about? Bronchoscopy, and they're going to give me whatever, an inhaler or whatever to get on with life. And yeah, I'm going to keep on keeping on. Well, I did go, and I had the bronchoscopy done, and I never heard back from anyone. So my assumption was, no big deal, I'm good, you know. But because I had never heard back from anyone, nothing, I made the call to the doctor, my primary care doctor, asking about it, because, I mean, just tell me what the results were, because if you guys didn't contact me, I assumed that everything was okay. So just let me know what the results were so that I can confirm that and move on with life, or tell me what I need to do, because I'm having this shortness of breath. And it wasn't as severe at that point. So I contacted them, and then the pulmonologist did call me, and he said, oh, no one ever called you? And I was like, no, never heard from anyone. And so the pulmonologist said, well, yeah, it looks like you have stage 3 sarcoidosis. And so I'm just like, what does this mean? You know, we start talking about stage this, what does this mean, you know? So he said, well, right now you don't seem to have a lot of symptoms, so I'm just going to give you this Advair disc, and I want you to take, you know, so many puffs on it a day to help you to breathe better. The little purple discus thing. And so still not knowing or understanding what sarcoidosis was, at that time when I looked it up, on the internet, it just said that, you know, it was unknown etiology or unknown cause, unknown cure, and it had to do with the lungs. I mean, it's a multi-system disease, so it can show up in different organs. And some people have it in most people have it in their lungs, but some people get it in their skin. Some people get it in their eyes, on their brain, in their heart, you know, and, you know, different organs of the body. So mine happened to be in my lungs, And so, and nowhere else, you know. And so, so he gave me the purple discus to puff on. And actually it turned out to be the worst, because, you know, I think there may have been another way to treat this, and maybe I should have been a little more aggressive about it and gotten a second opinion on, and more so to get a second opinion on how to treat it, because I didn't. And I didn't because all I had was some shortness of breath. I didn't deem it to be severe, or either that, or I just, you know, was in denial and didn't want to think that, you know, because in looking it up on the internet, it says the sarcoidosis can go, most time goes into spontaneous remission. And in other times, you know, people have much more serious how do you say, anyway, much more serious symptoms, much more serious, you know, outcome. So I guess I should have paid attention to that, to be sure that, you know, I wasn't exposing myself to something much worse. So I did the Advair discus on and off for that first year, and then in the second year, I still did it occasionally. It was getting on my nerves, and the doctor didn't tell me to come back and visit, or maybe he did, like 6 months later, to come back in 6 months again. Didn't make a big deal out of it. So anyway, at the time I had a relative staying with me, and she had a lot of challenges, so it was very stressful, extremely stressful, you guys. And it was so stressful that I believe that it triggered and made my situation, or my, you know, that made it worse. So, you know, towards the end of the second year after being diagnosed, I started getting really sick. Shortness of breath, couldn't barely lift my head off the pillow. I was so weak, sleeping all the time, completely exhausted, you guys. And just very afraid, because my body was literally, I felt, deteriorating all of a sudden. I'm talking about a strong, vibrant woman who was always being called upon for speaking engagements and for workshops and all sorts of things, you know, because I taught, you know, I did a lot of leadership trainings at colleges and universities. I was the director of judicial affairs at a higher education institution, and I, you know, was a publisher, so I was teaching writing workshops and so forth. So I was really on the roll, and I also was a strong advocate, community advocate for foster care, youth who aged out of foster care. So I was just, you know, totally and completely entrenched in, you know, getting out there and, you know, making waves. And so when that happened, it was like, man, someone, you know, it's like I was being paralyzed. And with no real major explanation, you guys. And so I kept getting sicker, and I ended up in the hospital. The first time I went in the hospital was because I couldn't breathe. I was having chest pains and I couldn't breathe. And it was really scary. You know, it's a really scary feeling when you can't breathe. And so I just couldn't get my breath together. I was having trouble. I mean, down to the point where even walking was a challenge. And they admitted me in the hospital, and they gave me large, huge doses of steroids. And steroids, you guys, are nobody's friend. So I was on these steroids. I was in the hospital, and they, you know, the steroids now, they did keep me from being short of breath, because what the prednisone does, which is the steroid, what it does, it suppresses the situation so that and it treats the inflammation, causes the inflammation to, you know, die down, if you will, because while they pump the medicine in you. So, you know, I was in the hospital about a week or two. I got out and came home and had a few weeks to recuperate. I wasn't on oxygen, but, you know, so I was still clicking along. And then about 6 months later, it was like the axe fell. Like I said, I was still having challenges with that same relative who was living with me, and all the things that were going on in her life, and me trying to either protect her or protect my household and everything. So I got sick again. I had just done a huge conference for women in Virginia, and then after that I got sick. I ended up back in the hospital. I went to the hospital that August for a week. Came back out. They had put me on oxygen for 2 liters, which is beginning oxygen. And then about 3 weeks later, I went back in the hospital. And they were pumping me each time with extremely high doses of steroids, you know. So I got out the hospital, you know, after a couple of weeks, and then another 3 weeks back in the hospital. So it was like August I was in the hospital, and I went back in September, and then I went back in at the end of October. It was there until the beginning of November. And I was in the hospital, in and out, in and out, in and out. They approved me for disability, Social Security disability, in you know, November, because I guess they were like, look, this chick is really doing bad, and so she can't work and she can't do anything, you know, we need to give her something to sustain. So they approved me very quickly, and most people don't get approved that fast, but I did. But that December at Christmas time, I was back in the hospital. I spent so many Christmases in the hospital, so many New Year's in the hospital, and for the next, from 2008 to 2013, I was in and out of the hospital like every 4 or 5 months. In and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, in and out of the hospital, until I was blessed with a new pulmonologist and other team of doctors at the Medical College of Virginia, who really stepped in and really took over, and they've been taking care of me ever since. And you know, but at the time, I remember them telling me, if you do not improve, if things don't improve with all the stuff we're doing, you only have 2 years to live. 2 years to live. Now, I mean, you know, you're talking about the girl who don't believe in sickness. I mean, I did not believe in sickness, and anybody who told me that they were sick, I immediately went into prayer for them and got all sorts of healing scriptures and healing things for people to do, because I did not believe in sickness. I really did not believe in sickness. So for it to happen to me was devastating in and of itself. So how do you go from being this vibrant woman who's in demand for speaking and helping others and everything, to literally not being able to pick her head up off the pillow, having to be almost carried to the bathroom. And while I was in the hospital, I had to have a catheter in because I couldn't even get up to get to the bathroom with assistance. I was very, very sick, you guys. All of a sudden, and gravely. And with no real explanation as to what in the world was happening. And so yeah, I ended up on oxygen. More and more I would end up on oxygen long term with higher doses of oxygen needed 24 hours a day. You know, I needed oxygen. And I lost my self-esteem. I lost everything. I literally hid in the house for 2 years. You guys, when I tell you that I'm doing Fabulous Fitzhugh for a reason, believe me, I am doing Fabulous Fitzhugh for a reason. I almost lost it all, mentally and physically. I couldn't believe this was happening to me. I wasn't a good person to be around because I was so angry and frustrated and grief-stricken. No one could do or say anything to bring comfort to me. And I was a woman of faith, a strong, what I thought, woman of faith. But it was so much, and it was so hard to bear. And all those people who sang my praises when I was, you know, in a good way, they disappeared. They all, I'm serious, you guys, they disappeared. Nowhere, they disappeared from my life. You know, I mean, and that was so hurtful. And I just didn't understand, like, what happened? Did I do something wrong? So wrong, God, that I was stricken with this curse? I did not know what it was, and it was so hard for me to figure out. So I had to start over again. Life had to start over again for me. I mean, I would spend weeks upon weeks in the hospital, months in the hospital, you know. From that steroids, I also, you know, ended up being diagnosed with having adrenal insufficiency. That's because of the steroids damaged my adrenal glands. So that was another, you know, thing I had to deal with. They also had to monitor my kidneys because, you know, to make sure that, you know, I didn't end up having to be diabetic or on dialysis or anything like that because of the fluid pills they had to give me to keep the swelling off my body. They, you know, it could damage your kidneys. You know, treating it would damage your kidneys. It's just so much. It was so much. And, but I was a fighter. You know, I was raised in foster homes. And from the age of 2 to the age of 18 when I aged out, and with no family or other means of support. So I know what struggling was all about. I knew that. And I knew what perseverance was all about. And I knew the importance of, you know, hanging in there and fighting it out. And yeah, so you guys, I have been through the fire. But I woke up one day and I decided I'm going to live. I'm going to speak life. I'm going to live. After hearing that, I was so determined to live. I was so determined that I would not be back in there at the end of that year. And that was 2012. And I did not go back. for a very long time. It wasn't until 2016 that I started going back into the hospital, and that was because of a stress of another kind that I will talk with you about a little later. But you know, I determined that I was going to fight, and I was going to make a liar out of that doctor, you know, because he was already set to put a nail in my coffin, and he doesn't have that power. Only God has that power. So I don't care what anybody says or thinks or does. They have no power to do anything to you. I don't care what the situation or circumstances. They don't have a heaven, hell, coffin, basket, or boat, or anything to put you in. So you don't have to listen to none of that foolishness. You don't have to receive it, you know. So that's what I chose not to do. I chose not to listen to it. I chose not to receive it. So anyway, I'm on oxygen. I'm in the hospital. Everything's looking glim. I am in the wheelchair. Because I can't walk anywhere. And all along, people that I run into and encounter are telling me, you know, that you're going to be fine. And they give me their testimonies. And each person that gave me their testimony, it lifted my spirit, because it made me feel like, hey, you know what? If they could do it, I could do it too. And so I'm here right now talking to you guys and I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know that no matter what your situation is, it may not be sarcoidosis. It may be something else that's threatening to take your life. It may be something else, you know, physical, mind, body, or spirit that's threatening to wipe you out. And I'm here to tell you that if you believe, you have to believe and have faith and know, you know, and fight and know that good things are yours. You just have to claim them, pursue them, you know, and make it happen for yourself. You're not by yourself. God is with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Never, ever, ever, and like the kids say, in a million trillion years. I'm here to guarantee you that. But guys, let me tell you, there are rough days. There are hard days. There are some days that are so hard that you just want to say, okay, fine. I'm done. I can't do this any longer, you know. But I refuse to give up because I believe there's something greater for me on this earth. God has more for me to do, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to fulfill it. You know, I'm fabulous. Now, I may not look fabulous to some because I have this tube on my face, and people make you they look at you and treat you and try to make you feel like you're inferior. And I've had that a lot. And somewhere along the line, God is going to have me to either write a book or do something to help people who are suffering with chronic illnesses or who are disabled, because people have the impression that, you know, that you're not as smart, or you're not, you know, you're not as your ability to comprehend what they're trying to explain to you, or recognize what they're trying to do to you. They think that you don't have that capability of seeing it. I don't know how many times, you guys, I've had to tell people, look, my lungs are sick. It's my lungs that have the problem, not my mind. I'm a very intelligent woman. Don't treat me like I'm less than who I am. And you have to fight for that. But there are so many people who don't have the strength to do that. To make a long story shorter, you guys, this year I have determined that I'm going to fight. As a matter of fact, I made that determination last year, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going forward. And my goal is next year, this time, to be off of this oxygen, to have a healthier body, and to, yeah, you know, and to get back on the good foot. So look, you guys, that's why I'm working out. That's why I'm praying, meditating all the time, and encouraging you to do the same, because I want to stay in a positive vein. Fabulosity is inside of me, and I've changed so much in so many ways. I'm different than I was before I contracted this terrible disease, but I'm better, and I'm so much better. Listen, you guys, there's so much more to talk about with regard to this journey, but I wanted to let you know why, my why of Fabulous Fitzhugh, my why of why of you know, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and why wearing this tube around my nose. But it's all good, and it's going to be even all better. So come on, walk with me through this. Let's make it happen. Cheer me along, you know. Tell me your situation. I'll cheer you along too, okay? All right, well, I'm going to finish my dinner, because I just started talking about it, and I just, you know, I'm going to season up my pork chops and get everything prepped for tomorrow. And, yeah, and then I'll sign on and talk with you guys again on Monday. Happy Sabbath. Happy Sunday, you guys. And I will talk with you on Monday. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And click the bell. Click the bell next to the subscribe button, so you can see when I put up new videos. I love you guys. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, Fabulous Fitzhugh, Twitter, at FAB Fitzhugh, Facebook, at Facebook, Fabulous Fitzhugh. Okay, you guys, have a wonderful evening. I love you. Thank you for listening to me, and thank you for going, you know, coming along with me on this journey. You're fabulous, and I am too. Fabulous Fitzhugh. Find what fits you, and then be the best at it. I love you. Peace.